So, welcome back to my channel. I will get to a picture of a book very quickly here because we're using StreamYard. Hey. So first of all, welcome. If you haven't been here before, I am Jamie B. I read a ton of books, and this is a check-in video. It's been more than half a month, and I need to say hi again and tell you guys what I'm reading and what I've been up to and all that fun stuff. This is what I'm reading right now. The Library Cosmic by Ben Berman-Gunn. It is queer sci-fi fantasy. Right now it feels more sci-fi, but it started out definitely fantasy, and definitely a blend of the two, and follows a gay couple. I'm not sure at this point they're technically still human, but they started out as a gay couple on Earth. So it works for some prompts I needed it for Gay Shit Readathon, which is nice. So I have been reading a lot of ARCs and trying to get my bookstore going. Getting rather frustrated with that at the moment. So I'm trying to keep myself from spiraling about all the reasons why it's not going to work by making a video about books instead, which, I needed to do anyway. Pretty much comes down to I can't see why anyone would want to give me money, so they probably won't. I have a feeling that's a rather reductionist approach and probably not strictly true. And there's probably things that I can do that I just haven't been thinking about because I'm stressed and I need to stop spiraling. So, books are good. So I am doing the Tarot Readathon and Gay Shit Readathon. Gay Shit Readathon got a slow start. It didn't really even have an announcement because it took too long to get everything lined up. So there was kind of a in lieu of sprint chatty bit video where we basically did a live announcement video in what would be the chat before a sprint, except there wasn't a sprint. Yeah. But that did launch Gay Shit Readathon, and because it started out late, we're also getting 2 extra weeks in July, so it doesn't end until the 13th, I think, for 13th of July. So we get the first 2 weeks of July. Basically, ends on the 14th, something like that. So that's nice. So it's still a month long. It's just shifted by 2 weeks. And it is teams based. So all 3 of my readathons are teams based, points, competitive. All 3 have a non-competitive team. I don't remember which readathon started that, but it worked really well sometime last year, and then everybody's done it since. And it is nice because it means people can join the readathon and be a part of the community without having the stress of the competition. What I find funny about the Gay Shit Readathon is so many of the people that are on those teams are people that are otherwise known for saying things like, oh, I don't do competitive readathons. They're too stressful. I just don't enjoy them or whatever. So now it's a competitive teams-based readathon, and a surprising number of those people are actually really getting into the competitive part. So there's some nuance there that was being lost and that we've discovered. Lovely. That's actually why I'm reading this book, because it satisfies not quite the rainbow, because it's not actually a rainbow, it's just the rainbow color order. So at least so far it doesn't satisfy the rainbow prompt for a rainbow on cover. I have another one that does, but not this one. This arc is queer fantasy, though. So I needed that in order to be able to get a blackout on one of the bingo boards, 4 points. So when I finish this one, I'll get a blackout on a bingo board, and my team will benefit greatly from my reading this book. It's really good. It needs some work. So hopefully the finished version has some section breaks that aren't in this arc version. This book did come out in May, although I just got the arc. So it's one that they have the arc available after publication date. So I have no idea what it looks like in the finished version. And if you're reading it in a non-arc format and it's confusing and you're not very far in, stick with it. It gets good. It's just without some section breaks, sometimes the scene shifts and it's hard to recognize what's just happened. And where it's not helping the plot for it to have that disorientation. So there's some things like that already so far. But I'm 30% in and I'm enjoying it. It's just sci-fi enough to satisfy those that like sci-fi while still having a lot of magic. And it's based around the magic concepts of a certain branch of Judaism that includes golems. So we have a golem, and it's been tasked with protecting the library. And it's taken that brief and expanded it just a little bit, and with epic consequences. I'm enjoying it. It's fun, and it does check off quite a few prompts. So if you're in Gay Shit Readathon and you're looking for some queer fantasy or fantasy sci-fi, it does both. This is a good option. And if you have it as an arc, definitely read it during Gay Shit. It works. So yeah. I'm making it through Gay Shit. It's not a readathon that I might have gravitated towards if my friends weren't running it. Because while I'm in the alphabet soup, I'm in one portion that's really rather awkward in an event like this. If you are ace, especially if you're ace and autistic, I don't care what their plumbing looks like. I don't care which parts they're matching up with which other parts. It's all gross, and I don't want to read it. Which is not a great standpoint to be having while trying to read a bunch of queer literature in order to get points. Because the whole rest of the event is based around books that are defined by their sexual content. So, but I read a lot of literary fiction and a lot of general fiction and a lot of arcs. I have these books available anyway. I read them anyway. I just don't usually read them back to back. So once I get finished with mid-July and we get our points tallied and find out that we won, then I might just not read anything with sexual content if I can help it for a week or so, just to detox a little bit. Yeah, so it's an interesting part of the alphabet soup to be in, because it's the one part of the LGBTQIA plus spectrum that's kind of the opposite to the entire rest of the letters. So yeah, but we're making it work. I'm not the only ace in the event. It's not like this is something that's unique to me. I think I might be differently autistic from some of the others, to where I just really find all that body stuff gross, and what are they doing with their tongue, and ew. Yeah. So so that's what I've been doing, more or less. I've been enjoying some of the books I've read quite a lot. This one, obviously, I've been enjoying. Um, I liked this one, Universe of Grace by Rachel Kalnick Sugan. This is more of a girl coming of age, um, where she's discovering that she's queer and figuring out how to deal with that, and there's stuff that happens. Um, I really liked it. It wasn't a 5 star. It wasn't like I need to reread it. It was good. I recommend it. And last year, for a while there, a couple of my friends and I were noticing that it was really easy to find queer literature about two men, but a lot harder to find queer literature about women, like female bodies or bodies that identify as female. Um, so this one's nice because it's not dudes. So being a creature that is a female body, I can relate more to this portion of the spectrum. Even though some of the stuff they're doing with their bodily fluids is still gross, I can live with it. Yeah. So I know getting your queer literature recommendations from an ace is interesting. But it's a good book. I think it wasn't so explicit that I found it unreadable, which is good to know. I know not everybody that identifies as somewhere on the queer spectrum wants lots of sexual content, and the two don't go hand in hand. You can be queer or hetero or somewhere in between or whatever, and not want a lot of sexual content in your books. So there is some, but this one wasn't over the top. So I enjoyed it. It was good. I think I gave it 4.5 stars, something like that. One that I've been reading and enjoying and recommending and trying to do a buddy read for, and if you're in Gay Shit Readathon and you have this arc, or if you have this book, this can be a buddy read. Just let me know so we can all claim buddy read points for it. Because it's really good, and I would love to be chatting about some of the food with other people. This is about a chef who grew up to be a chef and is growing up to be a chef during the course of this book. I've not gotten to where she's an adult yet. So I don't know much about them except that they are queer and talking a lot about making Chinese food and how one makes Chinese food and wanting to be a chef. But I'm really enjoying it. And I might be making some Chinese inspired food for a while just because I'm reading about it. So yeah, if that sounds like your kind of book, queer memoir, nonfiction, food, join me. It's a good book. And I'm not done with it yet, and I already am pretty sure it's going to be a 5-star memoir. And there are prompts where you need a memoir. So just saying. One that's not a queer book exactly, although vacuums don't have gender. They don't. So if a vacuum, even a semi-sentient vacuum, claims a female identity, that is an assumed identity on a vacuum cleaner, which is not inherently female. So it's not technically in the alphabet, in the queer alphabet, because it's not defined around non-human sentience. But I think that's where the plus comes in. I think that would work. And if we ever get to androids, they can be in there too. Anyway, so I think I did claim some points that got into that argument a little bit for this book. It was a 5-star read. I'd had it in my ARC collection for a while, and I saw that Leandra from the TBR Zero had read it and really liked it. And the things she liked it for tend to be things I like too. So I bumped this up to my June queue, and it was really good. It starts out really cute, and you kind of wonder what you're getting into. And it can't possibly be hardcore sci-fi or dystopia. It's too cute. Um, it's cozy in the first while, sad but cozy, um, and takes a sharp turn into dystopia, and I really liked it. It was a lot of fun. Um, and yes, it does star um, a female identifying small Roomba style vacuum cleaner named Scout. So, one of the more unusual protagonists in the books I've been reading. Really good book. Check it out. And the cover is just adorable. Those are mostly characters. I don't know about, oh, the birdhouse is not a character, but the rest of them are. I'm not sure why they put eyes on the birdhouse, but anyway. All right, last step. We have an alternative history, um, general fiction, historical fiction novel called The Weight of Angels by John Boyne. He's written quite a few books. You might have heard of him before. I think I have The Boy in the Striped Pajamas somewhere in my shelves or in my boxes. And maybe one or two others. I could have sworn I have more books by him, and I probably do. Because he's very prolific. He's had a lot of books. Anyway, what are we on? So this book I read as an ARC. All of the ones I've talked about in this video have been ones I've read as ARCs. This one is long, which is good if you need points. It did not feel long to me. This was another 5-star book that follows an alternate timeline in which Oscar Wilde did not get drawn in by the scandal that in our timeline led to him being arrested and put on trial basically for being gay. And that basically ruined his professional life and made him die early. So in this book, we're seeing what might have happened if Oscar Wilde had lived longer and been able to produce more and been able to live relatively openly with a man he loved. So it's an interesting book, and it takes on a lot of issues, and obviously it's alternate history. So it's doing historical fiction, but inserting Oscar Wilde into it. There are some things that didn't work as well for me. Boyne did this chapter where he brought Oscar Wilde to the US to interact with a bunch of film stars, and it felt like just a list. Like he had a list of people he'd love to see what they did with Oscar Wilde if they met him. And so it's just going down the list. It kind of lost me a little bit. It was funny, it was cute, it was interesting, but did it work? I don't know. So I don't know if that's something that might not be as awkward by the time it gets to print. So if you're reading it and it doesn't do that, that's great. They fixed it. If you are, it was a minor quibble in the book. The overall book is good enough to weather that issue. And it wasn't terrible. It's just, it wouldn't be a 5-star chapter. So So anyway, it was really good. It's over 600 pages, I think 624, something like that. So if you need books that are over 500 pages for a certain gay shit prompt, or if you're doing tar and need a longer book for more page points, or if you need more page points for the tarot readathon, which also does have page points, this is a great book to pick up, especially if you already got it in your NetGalley collection, which probably several people do. So yeah, not a bad sequence of books so far, considering that none of these are exactly ace. And I don't know, the vacuum cleaner and the clock and the refrigerator don't exactly have intrinsic gender. So maybe they're ace or intersex, or I don't know what exactly you would call a vacuum cleaner, a refrigerator, and a clock within that framework. So maybe technically they're kind of ace-ish. And they certainly don't have bodily fluids. So that part is great. Maybe that's why it ranked so highly. No. But anyway, so these are some great books to check out that I've enjoyed in the last week and a half or so. I did a post that you can find on my channel that shows. All right, you get my laggy face for just a little bit longer as I wrap up this video. And it's actually not as laggy now that I'm about ready to turn it off. Woohoo. So, uh, me and technology, we're not friends this week, just a little bit. But if you are looking for queer literature of any stripe, the 5 books I've talked about in this video are definitely ones to check out. If you want more ideas of stuff to read in the queer literature spectrum, I did put a post on this channel with 10 book covers from arcs that I've read this month for gay shit that you might want to check out. Some of them were not really my thing, but as mentioned, I'm one of those awkward letters that maybe is not as into some of the other parts of the queer literature spectrum. So I can dislike it and it can still be great for someone who actually is one of those other letters. So yeah. So check those out. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I've talked about in this video, or if there are any books you would recommend based on my liking these books. I will have a new video coming up soonish. I will be submitting my points. I will be submitting my points for tarot, and I should be finished with my arc with the rainbow on the cover and be talking about that in the next video, along with my final thoughts on the Melissa King memoir and the Cosmic Library story collection. So stay tuned for those. Yeah, if you don't know what to put in the comments, but you want to leave a comment, throw an emoji in for whatever team you're on and whichever readathon you are also doing. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.